Well, thank you. And today I wanted to discuss that Obama announced this weekend that he has decided to use military force against Syria and would seek authorization from Congress. So, do you see that the U.S. is going to war with Syria?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could have seen this coming years and years and years ago. You could have seen this coming before Obama was even quote unquote elected. In early 2008, there were a bunch of people, myself included, who were trying desperately at the time to blow the whistle on Obama, his connections, the fact that he was owned by the Saudis. And if you look at this serious situation and you ask yourself, cui bono, which means who benefits from this? Clearly, the only group that comes out of the United States doing anything in Syria is Saudi Arabia. And it's just all of this information coming back, to quote Reverend Jeremiah Wright, the chicken's coming back home to roost. Look, Obama is an agent of the Muslim Brotherhood. He's owned by the Saudis. His education was bought and paid for by the Saudis. Good grief, there's video all over the internet that was out in public, available widely on the internet, of Percy Sutton, the media mogul and politician and Malcolm X's attorney from Manhattan, from New York City, on the record saying, look, Khalid al Mansour, who is a Saudi agent, approached me in the mid 1980s and wanted me to write a letter of recommendation to get one of his Saudi proteges into Harvard Law. And the name of that kid that they wanted to place into Harvard Law was Barack Obama. Okay, this is all known. It's been known from the beginning. People like me have been jumping up and down, pointing and screaming about all this, and been called names and told we're insane and, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm just a person who has the stones to parse objective data when it comes down in front of me. Everything Obama has done has been either with the objective of collapsing the United States economy and the United States, the constitutional republic itself, in accord with the Cloward Piven strategy, or B, has been in service to the Muslim Brotherhood with the objective of destabilizing the entire Muslim world in order to consolidate power underneath the Muslim Brotherhood. And the Muslim Brotherhood is headquartered out of Saudi Arabia. So we look at the Syria situation, and again, we ask the question, cui bono, who benefits? It's Saudi Arabia. And that's it. It's pretty much just Saudi Arabia. Everybody else loses in this. So why is this happening? This is just more of the Obama regimes. And it's not just Obama, understand. It's the entire regime. It's also through the Clinton arm of the Obama regime, through Hillary Clinton's right hand assistant, and also probable lesbian. I refuse to use the word lover because we don't want to involve the word love in this. Lesbian sex partner, it's presumed, Huma Abedin, who is Mrs. Anthony Weiner, the insane psychopath New York City politician who's, sends dirty pictures of himself to children over Twitter and all that. She is the child of two incredibly high ranking Muslim Brotherhood, not just operatives, but two incredibly high ranking Muslim Brotherhood leadership, both her father and her mother. Her mother is the head of the female ladies auxiliary wing, if you will, of the Muslim Brotherhood. So the infiltration of the former United States government in this usurpation that has happened is coming not just through the Obama side, but it's also coming through the Clinton side. And people would ask the question, why in the world would these people be allying with Muslims? I mean, okay, we can buy the fact that Bill Ayers and these people, that they are a cadre of kind of neo-Stalinist, Marxist oligarchs and wannabe tyrannical oligarchs. We can get our heads around that. What in the world is the deal with this alliance with Islam? It's older than the hills. This has been going on ever since the advent of Marxism. Marxism and Islam have always been in alliances with each other. The Nazis, Hitler was in an alliance with the Mufti of Jerusalem and in a tactical alliance with Islam during World War II. The reason is because they're trying to use each other. Both of them think that they're using each other temporarily, and then once the time is right, they will turn on each other. And the analogy I've made time after time over the last several years is the Hitler-Stalin alliance. So Hitler enters into an alliance with Stalin, thinking that he's going to use Stalin and the Red Army to help advance his cause in Europe. And then when the time is right, he would betray Stalin and turn on him, which he eventually did. And we all know how that worked out. Stalin, on the other hand, is thinking the same thing, except the mirror image. He's thinking, I'm going to enter into an alliance with Hitler. I'm going to let Hitler go roll over Europe and get all of his soldiers killed fighting in Western Europe and so forth. And then as soon as Hitler has Europe basically on a silver platter with a big red bow on it, I'm going to betray my alliance with Hitler, and then I'll just basically have Europe on a, like I said, on a silver platter. That's what Stalin was thinking. So they're both temporarily using each other with the intention of eventually turning on each other and taking over what the other one has. Now think about this, it's exactly the same thing today. These neo-Stalinists are using Islam in order to gain control of basically the big oil producing regions on the planet. And then they think that once the time is right and that they have allowed the Muslim Brotherhood to reform the quote unquote caliphate and consolidate all of this landmass and all of these natural resources and get them under the control of basically one body, then the neo-Stalinists will turn on them, and all of that will be, again, on a silver platter with the big red bow on it. The Muslims see it exactly the same way, but the mirror image. They're going to use these neo-Stalinists, and they're going to use them and use the United States military to help them reform their caliphate. And then once they feel they have critical mass, they will then turn on the neo-Stalinists and they will expand and steamroll first into Europe. And then eventually they have their eye on infiltrating into the Western Hemisphere, mostly coming in through Mexico and Central America. And that process has already started. So it's there's really nothing new under the sun. You can see what's going on here. We knew who Obama was to a large degree coming in. We knew who the money was behind him. We knew who his support structure was. We can look at these czars and these people that he has surrounded himself with. It isn't just, confessing Musloids that have utterly, completely infiltrated the entirety of the federal government, that now usurp federal government, but it's people who are sympathetic, like, Brennan and all of the people who just bow and scrape to Islam in the military, the people who refuse to say that Nidal Hassan's terrorist attack at Fort Hood was in fact a terrorist attack and an act of jihad, calling it workplace violence. When you see, for lack of a better word, white American people talking that way, bowing and scraping to Islam, what you're seeing are these dynamics playing out, these people who either are in an express alliance with Islam or who are so morally weak. And I've seen this myself. Men in the military, men in the government, who for them, priority number one and number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is A, the acquisition of power, and B, the preservation of their income, and most especially their pensions, okay? Does it not strike you as strange that there is not one flag officer, there is not one field grade officer in the United States military who has the stones to stand up, call a press conference, and just call BS on all of this and say, this is insane. We're not doing this anymore. If you want to throw me in prison, if you want to take my pension, go ahead and do it. You know why there aren't any? Because all men of intelligence and integrity have been drummed out of the United States military and the United States government a long time ago. Those guys, they can't even function. They get to a certain rank, and a man who has any integrity at all looks around him and says, these guys around me are just a bunch of politicking whores and psychopaths who are chasing a pension and nothing more, and they would sell their grandmothers to the Nazis for a nickel if they thought they could get away with it. And I can't be a part of this anymore. So most of those guys are gone before they even reach the rank of major. So yeah, I mean, you have to understand, as much as it hurts, as much as it just tears you up inside, our government's been overthrown. The constitutional republic no longer exists, and our quote unquote government is the enemy. It's part and parcel with the Muslim Brotherhood. It's part and parcel with a cadre of neo-Stalinists who are trying to destroy everything and consolidate all of the power and wealth on the planet unto themselves. You cannot be waving the flag anymore and saying, rah, rah, yay, America. America is the good guys. Well, it depends on who you're talking about. Are you talking about the 85-year-old couple who lives next door to you, or the husband is a World War II veteran and the wife is just, the sweetest little woman you'd ever meet in your life? If that's what you're talking about by quote unquote America, then okay, granted, yay, America. If you're talking about the institution as it now exists, if you're talking about the constitutional republic and the government, and I'll even go so far as to say the military as it now exists, no, you have got to get your heads around this. It's like being a German in 1943. Can a German of good conscience and morality in 1943 look around and wave the flag and say, rah, rah, yay, Germany, we're the good guys? No, you aren't. You aren't the good guys until you fix this mess that is your nation and is your government. It's not rah, rah, yay, Germany in 1943 for the Germans, exactly the same way that right now in the former United States of America in 2013, it's wave the stars and stripes and rah, rah, yay, America.